bag.
This week, in the high steps of Libra, people are deciding to continue their partnerships or bail out. And I've got some hot news for you. Our team was not immune. All this and more on Leading Out Loud.
There are so many people that are disconnected from their internal guidance. My mission is to change that.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
I'm your Carol Master and Bad Vibe Blaster.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. Leading out loud.
Hello and welcome to Leading Out Loud. It's going to be a phenomenal show and an interesting week, friends. We have so much to report on. For instance, the sun is wrapping up in Libra, and a full moon at apex this morning has put the kibosh on some partnerships and marriages that are not apparently destined for ascension. And also this week, a viral clip of Daryl Anka going around, the exclusive channel of Bashar, who's a great extraterrestrial if you don't know, is begging the question, what are Lightworker ethics anyways? What is the right way to go? But first, we're going to talk about some of the obvious. Hello, Scott. So good to see you, brother. We are just the two of us. Just the two of us.
Just the two of us. Yep.
Yes. We're going to talk about the weather of the day, and really it all kind of segues into Libra energy. You know, right now we are in this place in the next 5 days, really over the weekend, astrologically, and we'll go into our psychic surf report where people are making major changes as far as who they partner with, how they partner, and whatnot. This is something that happens every year, frankly, but this year I talked about and predicted, and we don't have time to pull the clips, that this is a big one. This is a biggie because really what's happening with Saturn and Pisces is people are being called to their mission. They're being called to where they are supposed to be positioned on the earth for the great shift, the great awakening, whatever you want to call it. And you and I this week realized that our co-hosts have been called on a new mission.
Yeah. And although it's happy, it's sad at the same time. It's always a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
And we still have projects together on the side too that we'll be doing collectively too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's always a shift and a change. And although sometimes we don't know what it is, we always in the end find out it's always for the greater good too. So
I find this, I do things for the greater good. I mean, one thing about Devin and Chris is they're both profound at their craft. Like, I don't question what they receive from spirit. I don't question their integrity whatsoever and their ability to read. You know, it's just for me. It was like, you always hope. I mean, I'm finding this is true with light workers. It's like we don't get much time together. Like I told them about Unite the Light. It's like you enjoy each other while we got each other, because for us all to be able to come together and all to be able to be together is a luxury. There's so much to do on this planet, this lifetime. And we're constantly being pulled away. And that was pretty much both of their messages. Chris had things, and Devin also is being called from the angels to a new assignment. So, you know, if you're going to work with heaven, you have to obey and, you know, and act, and act on it. So they'll always be friends of the show.
Here, but I'm called here, Christopher. I don't be with you. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I keep praying if you should be here. They keep saying yes. It sucks. So going forward, like Scott and I are going to be working. We're going to co-host this for a while, and we're going to actually talk about later. Bring up these empty chairs, bring them into guest seats for a while, and bring some light workers on, and we're going to bring some extra guests on, and we're just going to go with the flow here. We're going to just follow divine spirit and see how things go. And the two of them are always welcome as a guest. We do want to hear about how they're doing and what adventures they're doing in the future. It's going to be great seeing how things unfold.
Yeah,
You know?
and I'll still be working with Chris Reck on my lives every last Thursday if you want to see us tag team together of the month. So we're still working together, and we'll also bring on guests, like controversial guests, those who may be opposed, like skeptics. I think it'd be fun to have discussions in that aspect where people don't see what we see. I think we should open up the door to skeptics and those that oppose our views. I think that's very productive and could be very fun too.
Yeah, we've called it to Satan. He's not returning. So
he's roasting. We roasted him.
Yeah, we roasted him too much. So let's go. We're going to follow the normal path. We have a great show for you today. We're talking about a lot of fascinating topics. We want to hear from you in the chat too. We're going to bring you on the show whether you like it or not. So be careful what you type. You might be up there on screen. But first, our psychic surf report. Usually I talk about the planets first and then everyone dives in. Let's flip it around. Scott, why don't you dive in for this surf report for this week? Obviously, we are dealing with the relationships. We're going into Scorpio next week. What are you picking up on for the upcoming week, brother?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a continuation for what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. So if you've missed it, I've been saying it's really kind of preparing for that, that balance and bringing things back into full view and encompassing what you're wanting truly, going forward effortlessly now. And the way to make it effortlessly is to let go, like we've been saying over and over again, those relationships that have been maybe not so much, been hindering you, but maybe just not fitting well together. And I said a couple of weeks ago, I let go of a 10-year friendship of mine it was just time. And so as I'm embarking on my trajectory, my new endeavors, those who don't match that energy are going to have to go. So you guys have to think about now moving forward this week, where's the end result? Where are you actually heading toward? Because as you know, you can't be, you have to be the energy of what you're wanting. So things are in your scope of your life and they're not matching the energy we're going to be, they're going to have to go. So this week is going to be that realization. And I think last few weeks, Christopher, there was the realization of that. This week is actually seeing the manifestation of that, right? Things actually creating that separation. So I embrace that. So to me, it's all in love either way. And so I think that those of you who are fighting that, you might want to not fight that, really own it and show up.
Yeah. You know what my problem is like, and I'll talk about the planets in a minute, is that I'm always working on the relationship. I'm always working on it, always working on it. So when we're on the same vibe, I'm like, I'm just not doing it right. I got to come from a different approach.
Right.
So, and then it's almost like, and this is what happened this week. God's like, time's up, like,
Right.
I was like, damn it, I didn't get it together.
Right.
So that's the hard part, is calling the race, where's the line? And astrology says, this is the line. This is the line. Like this week, over the weekend, pretty much, and going through this point forward, today's a step 24 day to go into 25. So today you're really going to meditate, open up on what's right for you, and pray about it. So pray on it, folks. I mean, pray on it. That's what we want to help you with, is to pray on it. Step 26 is really on Saturday. So Saturday you will be ready to commit or to divorce or to separate. And then as we move into the weekend, we take that action. So this weekend is sort of breakup weekend. Be a good reality show right there, breakup weekend. I think a lot of breakups will happen. But I've also found, I'll just say right now, like as people leave, people are there waiting in like a Pez dispenser. Blink, so we've had changes in our staff at Serious Joy as well. And those changes had people waiting right there like, oh, I want to be on there. So, the universe has a plan, really.
Right.
I think with romance, it's not always the case, like someone there right away. I think romance has so much intimate connection. It takes time to kind of, whenever someone's like, it comes up to me and like, I'm out of a divorce. How long? Is my question, like a month? I'm like, talk to me in 9, because I don't want to help with that, be a part of that. Cause I find you can be the scapegoat of that. Right. But the astrology says that we move forward and we cut these cords. There will probably be a huge, what's the word I'm looking for? A huge like callback. Like, wait, maybe I'm wrong. Like there's going to be that moment where you're tempted back. The devil will try to tempt you back. It looks like Monday night to Tuesday. All right. So, and the devil always tempts you back, by the way.
That's
always.
Right, yeah.
So astrology is like, are you sure? There's like a double opt-in, to a new relationship, I find, or leaving a relationship. So you have to plow through that. But it's literally right at step 29, which is next Tuesday. The sun squares Pluto, which in layman's, and Mercury trines Saturn. And what that means is our heart and mind are done. Like it is over. Right. At that point, and I would just say, try not to make damage on the exit. I think people just we don't realize the reality of reality. Now we're in heaven sleeping and we're dreaming this together. So it's not the end of the world. You will see them in heaven. Even if they say they'll never talk to you again, that's not true.
Sure.
And if you leave on bad terms, you're going to come back. Like you're going to come back or you're going to manifest someone who's very similar, does the same thing in your life. And you're going to have to go through the whole course again. So, so anyways, you want to end it on a good note.
A lot of times it just show up in different packages. It might be the same person that comes by, but you keep repeating the same scenario. It's like, oh, it's the same person, different package. And so that also is signs that, you haven't let go really, subconsciously and emotionally. So
we're not done. You're still holding on to it. Like, I find so here's what I think, and this is interesting advice that just came up out of nowhere. If you're the person that refuses to grow, right? They just refuse to grow. They refuse to face stuff. And that's common. People have fears. People are hung up. And this happens often with my clients. I'll have usually a female client, who the man is not growing spiritually. And their fear is leaving because their fear is that they don't want to have the karma. They're like, I don't want the karma. I want to be done.
Right.
I'm scared to leave him because if I don't finish this, I'm going to have to deal with this asshole again,
Right.
And I'm like, no, that's not how it works from what I can see in my third eye. The way it works is if one of the two parties ascends out of the situation, okay, and they grow, the universe assigns a new person to play that person in that other person's life. So
Hmm.
another actress plays that mother, plays that wife, and so they continue with their karma, and you can move on with your stuff. So that's something that people worry about.
Yeah, of course. I mean, again, I just think it's just same energy, and we should be very objective and conscious if we've evolved. Because I always say we always have to always overly mystify like relationships and attraction. It's like the simple idea is just being conscious. Like, what are you doing and what are you engaging with, and being conscious of what you're speaking, how you're behaving. That then the signs are all around you. And so it's interesting because I guess I'm doing Chris Rex job for a moment, but I just randomly was pulling some cards. It was a hermit card, so it really
Oh,
is about kind of being with the self right now and kind of understanding
mm,
what the self is. Because in retrospect, you have to sort out the shit, right? The heartache, the pain, the things that have been kind of confusing and crushing your emotional perspectives, and then that's where you kind of bring things to the world, the full circle. That's where you can actually extend your energy into the world. So I'm actually going to take this card quite literally, in conjunction to the three that kind of fell out of my deck. So there is some reconstruction going on. There is some surgical aspects. If you look at the swords in the heart, we are taking surgery and stuff, and so sometimes it's painful, but then the release is the reward, actually. And so I think we all are looking at this, and like you said, Christopher, kind of like, I don't want the karma because I'm going to stay in it. Well, it depends on the variables of such, because I was in a relationship to where the karma was kind of to go through it, not to leave it. And when you're becoming a better person in it, even if there's some sort of conflict, you realize I'm making myself a better person. They're becoming a better person. And that is a relationship 4 years got started that now is becoming very solidified for me now. So we have to identify, is it making me a better person though? Are we becoming
mm,
better? We're learning from this. And you understand that in itself, that relationship could be the one that's actually healing the karma and will be the one in the end. Too many people are trying to say, this isn't working out now. It's not what I want. I'm gone. And it's like, did you consider things a little bit more? Because you'll keep bouncing around to the same club, the same energy, the same people. And so I think we
right.
need to give things a little more time too, both on the intro and outros.
That ties into an ethic question we'll bring up here in the next segment.
Yeah.
About the ethics of knowing as a psychic, like being psychic in a relationship and knowing how it's going to unfold and how dynamically challenging that is.
Right.
But to wrap up on our surf report, I feel like there's a hard line between Tuesday and Wednesday when the sun goes into Scorpio. And I see what you're saying, the rebuilding, the hermit, that all aligns, because really those first degrees of Scorpio are the hermit. Like that's the most,
Yeah.
that is the coldest cold, those early degrees of Scorpio where you face all
Right.
of your shadow.
Right.
And I felt that's what the next part of the month of the week is next week. When we come back next week on Thursday, and now I guess we're in season 2, right? Like drawing a
That's
line,
right.
like
Season two, baby.
yeah, maybe season 2 is next Thursday because that's Scorpio. It's a good line, right? Like a hard line. But you draw a hard line with yourself because
Right.
we know that if you attracted this issue, it takes two. Like you attracted it, you were calling for it, you were asking for this lesson, and so there. I think the aftermath is okay. What was I calling in? Why was I calling it in? Do I want to keep
Mhm.
calling that in? Did I learn from this? Have I risen to another level of understanding, a new
Right.
perspective? I think it's also important to understand what they were learning, and what was
Right.
necessary for them, and go from there. Because what I see in most relationship charts is it's not based on compatibility.
Sure.
Never. It's
Sure.
based on triggering lessons in each other.
That's right.
And especially my female clients never want to hear that. But I'm just
Right.
like, it's really because what happens is I'm also enlightening them to the things that they were supposed to learn. Because it's
Right.
all like a lot of times it's, and not just women, but a lot of times it's finger pointing the whole time.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And and it takes two, and they're a reflection of you. The other aspect too is like whenever there's a problem in a relationship, it's you have that problem inside yourself already with you. You have that problem,
Sure.
and they're actually representing a problem you have with yourself, and that's why you get so upset about it because it's actually calling you out when you see them do that behavior.
Yeah. I mean, what you react to, you relate to. So I'd say even on the both positive end and the negative end of the spectrum, if you're reacting to something, there's a heated charge there for a reason that's within you. And because if
Right.
you didn't relate to something, you would just like, oh, whatever, you'd kind of brush it off. And so it's important to see what are we reacting to. I
Totally.
also and I feel now too, Christopher, that there's a lot of people that need to seek the more individual approach to their lives, and there's other people that are seeking more of a communal approach to lives. I've been seeing a lot of that dichotomy in my sessions, where like some people really like push into communal, and so many people pushed out of communal into more independent. So there's gonna be a lot of even splittings with that, with people and friendships that need to be more on their own path, and those who are seeking communals are gonna start gravitating together. There's gonna be massive shift. I think it's like a Rubik's cube, kind of
Yeah.
like finding what fits together. And so I think there's going to be a lot of those shifts, and people should not take that personally. If someone needs to do their individual approach or someone's doing more communal approach, it's just where the time is right now for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, well, some people have been codependent this whole time, and they've
Hmm.
been, they have not learned their autonomy, they've not learned their sovereignty and their ability to
Sure.
like manifest on their own. So those
Right.
people will go through 40 days in the desert, so to speak, like Jesus, and like have to go
Hmm.
face their shadow and be alone, and that's often
Right.
hard. If you're terrified of being alone, there's your answer. You're gonna have to
Right.
be alone. Like whatever you're afraid of, you have to face. Like if you have a
Yeah.
fear inside of you, you have to face it. Period. There's
Right.
no if, can't, one day. So a lot of my clients go, I don't know what to do. What are you afraid of? There you
Right.
go. Those are
Exactly.
things you have to do. That's your first list. That's keeping you from getting and being who you want and bringing the person
Right.
that you love. Because you're going to manifest partnerships that represent that fear, that reflect
Right.
that fear, that trigger that fear. We have a question from our audience. If people split around this time, will this be just a pause or a complete disconnect? I know anything can happen, but what's the norm?
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, well, I'll kind of hop in more generally because
yeah,
every
good.
circumstance and situation is different, of course.
Hmm.
But I'm sensing the majority of the ratios here is more permanent disconnections.
Hmm.
And so the minority might be, oh, it's in time and so forth. But right now I've noticed my true relationships strengthening more during this time too. So it's not just
Hmm.
about disconnections. The relationships I've been building that have been close, I've gotten even closer during this time. So it does feel like a more of extreme dichotomy right now. So
I know. I
it's
feel closer to
most
you, Scott.
likely. What's that?
I feel closer to you.
Oh, let's rub our hearts
Yeah.
together.
No, but seriously, you're exactly right. Well, I agree with
Yeah,
you. The astrology shows 90% are going to be for the rest of this life. Like,
right,
because we had such a huge chasm between these two eras that we're living, and we have two
right,
major eras in our lifetime. One was the repair era of karma. The next is the enlightenment of the earth.
right.
And they're just not the same teams, not the same people, not the same thing. So there's a huge split. You'll probably see them in heaven. Well, you will see them in heaven. I mean, we don't ever split from anyone ever. It's an
Right.
illusion.
And
And take
I like you said that because people do those cord cutting techniques. I'm like, you're never going to cut those cords. Those are part of your makeup, your karmic makeup. So the issue is you need to resolve it. So it's not active. That's, and so people try to cut the cords. I'm like, you can't do that.
Yeah, you
It's
can't give
never going
God
to
a vasectomy. It's not going to happen. Like
happen.
everyone is connected. Everyone's connected. It's going to happen.
Right.
That's what it is. Cord cutting. Like God was like, "What
Don't
are you
neuter
doing,
that
man?"
spirit. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
neuter that spirit.
By the way, God
Um,
still works for the show, but I guess he had some emergency in Tijuana. I don't know. So
he's all
we had
over.
has to show up. Yeah, it's good. Good. All right, that's excellent talk. So the answer to the question is probably not. But there are some people that go on hold, go away, come back. Go back to. But the era I'm looking at is like if I say they come back 20 years, 20
Oh,
years, like
interesting. So you're going time frame? Yeah, I mean, it seems. I feel like there would be also connections from afar, right? Like there's not any animosity, but it's like okay, but you're still kind of maybe getting glimpses of them. I think we need those as reflections too.
oh yeah, yeah,
So sometimes it feels like we'll keep them around you, but from afar, so you have a
right.
reflection.
They
As you're
do. That
continuing to
happens.
evolve.
I know people give me reads like, I saw my ex. I'm like, oh, good. They're just checking in. Like
Right,
because remember, we're all in creation. We can create anything.
right,
So
hmm,
when you can create anything you want, the only thing you have as a point of presence that you can compare to is the relationships you've had, those soulmates. Like,
exactly,
because then you
hundred
go,
percent.
okay, 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 okay. I'm not crazy. Like, if you're creating something on the fly, you need something that's familiar to compare yourself to, just to
Right,
see how much you've changed, and just sort of update the records.
yeah,
I always say when a new relationship is coming in, a new relationship is coming in because you get a tour of the exes. Every
hmm,
ex past life, every
that's right.
every past life. I swear to
Sound
God, they'll all
bar.
check in the same week on Facebook. I'm like, shit,
Yeah,
there's something coming in, because
right,
I'm getting every past life coming in at the same time. Something's
right.
happening here, boys. So yeah,
Or an ex from
uh,
20 years ago, what you doing tonight? It's like, I don't know. What are you doing? So yeah, the weird kind of ex revisiting is always a sign that like a new relationship is about to come. Like they smell it.
they
It's like
smell
they
it.
can
They know
sense the
that you're on the
change,
market again. Yeah, yeah, and they want to
They
feel
smell
like,
the unresolved, they're like, oh, I never really said what I wanted to say to them. So what are they doing? So yeah, it's gonna
well,
be like a psychic charge for sure.
you bring up a good point. Like if they come in and they say they want to touch base, do it. Okay,
Yeah,
do it. Don't hide from them
yeah,
because A, you're holding back their growth. Why would you do that? You loved them
right.
at one point. B, quite often there's something for me in that.
Sure.
Almost
Well, the
always.
release.
Yeah. And
Because
actually,
if they come
yeah.
to you and they have something you feel good, hey, I let them move on. Well, there's a release on your end too,
Yes.
you know.
Rare is the case that I don't benefit from it. Now the hard part is if you're in a relationship and they come back. That's tough. Because the
Mhm,
partner you're
mhm,
with has to be
mhm.
open to the fact that yes, every now and then. I mean, I have disclaimers when you date me. There's a whole list of things you got to check at initial, and one of them
Right.
is that I'm friends with my past life wives. They come in occasionally. They check in with me. It cannot be a problem. Check,
Mhm.
right?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm always out from 2 a.m. to 4. Do not ask questions. No, I'm kidding. But there's always
The red light's on. Get out of here.
yeah,
You
the
know.
red light's on. Don't touch daddy. Yeah, no, but ultimately no. But that's one of them because for me as a spiritual leader, I keep that door open. I'm like, I want to grow. I don't want to have to come back here if I don't want to. So
Right.
let's tie this shift up and let's move on. right? Which is a
Yeah,
good
totally.
segue to our next topic. First of all, I just want to say a couple of things. We're going to go to commercial and come back, but thank you very much, Scott. We are moving forward now with a casting call. We want to put out there. We have a couple seats here available at the table. We'd love to have some conversations with other light workers. I've been called from my spirit to put this call out. So we're casting now light workers who want to come on for one episode or more. If you have an ongoing light worker practice, that means you get paid for it. And you can prove that. Like just giving advice to the girls at the laundromat does not count, or to the guys in the office doesn't count.
What the returns, yeah.
Well, there's something about when you're getting paid for it, you reach a certain benchmark of credibility in yourself. It's not
100%.
about money counting. It's just about
Right.
if the
Credibility.
you reach. It's a benchmark that people are paying for your
Experience,
advice.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
We'd love to have you on the show. We're going to have some guests on here and talk about different topics. If you want to be on the show, it will take us time to respond, but email us at support@seriousjoy.com. And the subject line would be LOL casting. Okay. LOL casting. And we'll get back to you on that. So let's do a word from our sponsor. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. We've been doing this like crazy. It is Mama Bear, of course, and she's got the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck certification. She is a hoot, by the way. She's fun to be with. I mean, being in front of her she's just one joke after another. She needs to be on TV. I keep telling her.
Yeah.
And bring the animals, I see, bring back Mr. Ed or something. But anyway, she's phenomenal to be in class with. And the thing about this is, this is a good place to start, y'all, as far as animals. Animals are symbols of all the consciousness, all the states of awareness, all the step numbers. Do I hear a dog barking?
I'm trying to mute. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Oh, that's your
Rocco.
dog.
Sounds like
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. I was like,
Yeah,
that's kind of ironic. We're doing that. Okay, maybe he's trying to do a plug for her. Come on, he's trying to plug her. Yeah, we'll find out.
Already. That's funny.
It is
That's
a
good
plug.
timing.
He's like, hey, yeah, and buy now, and you'll also get like he's throwing in the doggy biscuits.
Right.
So, anyways, let's roll a commercial here for Bernadette King and her tarot deck certification.
Wild Pack, it's Mama Bear, aka Bernadette, the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle certification class that you guys have asked me for 4 years. 4 years you've been asking. It's finally coming. It will be out this week. If we haven't met yet, I'm Mama Bear, and I always read with my own deck, the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck, 223-page book. There are 149 cards. It's a big old deck, but there were a lot of animals that wanted to be in it. And animals don't play. When they want something, they want it. And that's that. So just give up the ghost and just do what you're supposed to do, please, which is follow your heart, follow your calling, follow your, what are they called? Natural instincts.
Natural instincts. Yay. She's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I cannot say enough. And we have the email address there. Email support Serious Joy with the hashtag ARC in the subject line. And we'll forward it. We'll give you $100 off her certification. She's also doing, by the way, her class was delayed till January because she wanted to like spread it out more and put it in the winter season.
Right.
But she's actually gonna do a couple of bonus classes, like head up bonus classes before Christmas.
Nice.
So if you sign up and purchase, you'll be a part of these bonus classes, which is kind of cool because you know what? An unintended consequence of these classes is you meet other people who are interested in this stuff.
That's true.
You know how hard it is to find light workers that you can
Right.
talk about Jesus to and bitch about Moses? I mean,
Right.
it's rare. It's rare. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
the biggest side benefits of Serious Joy is like the people that come. Like you've been waiting.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to talk about your past lives, and things like
And
that.
my clients who didn't know about Serious Joy, I direct to. I always direct them if they're looking for a community of people, into spirituality, beginning spirituality. I always direct to Serious Joy.
Oh,
Because I'm like, that's a great community of people that I can verify that are very solid and tight knit and really help each other and care about each other. So yeah, I always direct for that.
Thank you.
That fact alone, the community part is a huge benefit. Yeah,
It is.
So,
Well, I have Jupiter in the 7th. And what that means in simple terms is that my fortune in life are the people that come to me or in my
Yeah.
life. So
Right.
you're an example, Devin's an example, Chris's an example, and
Yeah.
everyone that watches an example. I just draw gems to me, really.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny. It just forms. People got married, met soulmates and stuff. It's really
Yeah.
interesting.
I've been trying to learn how to stop that because sometimes I draw too much. I'm like, get away from me. So
No, you like it.
I've
Yeah.
had the opposite effect.
We'll put a bubble around you. It's all good. And
kidding.
speaking of lightworker fame, I mean, I'd say Daryl Anka is probably one of the most famous lightworkers right now. I really admire his work. I really admire his as a medium. I think he's hilarious that he does this. He's actually quiet, shy, kind of. I think not Bashar. Very much not
Right.
Bashar. And it came up, I guess, over one of he has like Bashar Fest. I mean, that's what it's called, but it's like Bashar Fest is like where he brings all of his people to Sedona. And there was a comment on stage from a question about I don't even want to quote this because I don't have it right, but ultimately the question asked about who to vote for. And Bashar, not Daryl, Bashar answered, right? Now we're not going to get into those politics because
Right.
honestly, I wouldn't even begin as a fellow light worker. I wouldn't even begin. To me, it's unethical for me to
Right.
dive in and judge Bashar at all. I mean, judge Daryl at all until I have him on the show and I can talk to him. I mean, I
Right.
wouldn't even judge him then. I'm just saying it's inappropriate. I think for me to do that, but it brings up the topic. Like, forget about that because I'm sure Daryl has the best intentions for all humans. I mean, you guys, you know how tiring this work is. I mean, you know how tiring it is. I mean, to get up on stage and to channel and to ask questions, you feel like you have gone through a marathon. You know, you are high and
Yeah.
you're jittery, and then you drop really hard,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Need you on the set, Mr. Wataki?" You know, like, you're like, you know. So none of them complaining. I love it, but it's like, you know, I think it's time for people to have a little more compassion for what we do. You know, some of the stuff around Daryl I thought was unfair. You know,
Yeah.
the comments
Yeah.
and stuff I saw.
You're going to get that even if like even in personal readings, if you're getting a prediction they don't like, you're going to get that kind of the feedback and loop, and people are still like, you know, emotionally invested and involved. I thought it was quite bold, you know, but I have some questions I would love to ask directly at some point, you know, about a lot of the, you know, the ideology is creating reality and collective creating reality, and also how that works in prediction on his perspective, because I have my ideas. I would love to hear his thoughts. I've been, you know, watching Bashar for 20 years. He's been one of my favorite teachers, you know, in his messaging. So yeah, I'm interested to find out more about that perspective. And, you know, I think we've come to the point where we've had set trajectories and collective set trajectories, and then we get into points where it's open. And so with this election particularly, I'm like, I can't read. So is there going to be a stalemate? Is it a stalemate election? I don't know. So I couldn't read. So I figured maybe there's certain things that are just not determined. And so in this case, it's depending on how we're swaying with the collective. And so I think that's why these are magnificent times because of that, because we kind of get to see what's going to unfold based on, you know, the results of what we're doing and the results of our action too. So that's kind of exciting to me too. So I think we're definitely in a phase, Christopher, where we can really alter and shape things in the collective, you know, and be really more conscious of that now. I don't think it's a set future with the, you know, the election and stuff right now. It's really very malleable to me, seems like. Because I keep seeing
I think so first of all, so we're going to talk about Lightworker Ethics next. That's the segment. We're going to talk about but you're bringing up a good point about elections and whatnot. Since it's here, let's dive into it. During the Trump election in 2016, you know, people kept asking client after client after client in a reading. I feel compelled. You have rented me. I am at your disposal. For me to say no and one answer is kind of rude. On TV or this is different because I have, you know, people's opinions to predict. I represent all people. I represent all sides. I don't pick a side.
Likewise.
That's my assignment from God Universe. Like, I can't exclude anyone because I don't believe in what I believe in. And what I believe, I never put out there. So my ethics are, I don't tell anyone what I believe ever, right? And the truth is it changes, right? But the year of 2016, let's roll back that clock. Everyone coming to me, who's going to win? I'm like, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Hillary Clinton. I keep getting Hillary Clinton all year long. I get Hillary Clinton. It was like October, like 15th, like where we are now, actually. When I go, who's going to be elected? Donald Trump. Like, it switched. Switched. I'm like, I got Donald Trump. Like, and I was like, no. The person in front was like, oh, I started panicking. Like, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting Trump, you know. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, did it really switch? Like, then I was starting to check my own self, and I kept feeling I'm getting goosebumps right now. Like, I kept like checking my guides. I'm like, I'm getting Trump. And at that point, I didn't want to answer because it was upsetting my clients. And I didn't, you know, they start to blame me, the messenger. It's like, no, I'm just telling you what I'm getting. You trust me or not, you know. Like, so, you know, to me, it's come down to like this last two elections. My Lightworker ethic is, I don't predict elections. No, not at all. I'm not predicting them. And even us behind the scenes, we're doing little checks with each other. Like, I do talk to the staff. I do talk to other psychics. Like, hey, what do you pick up, man? Like, I take a consensus, you know, from my psychic friends.
Yes, right. But for me, like with that type of approach, you know, I'm always a moderate, anyways, when it comes to the political sphere. I always say objectivity is the message I always preach, right? And I say beliefs don't mean anything. They always change. They're very limited viewpoints, and so you want to be as objective as possible, have the God view. So I tend to like to guide people in my viewpoint of where humanity is going, regardless of, I think they're two different paths, but they're all leading to the same destination, just in different experiences. So I like to kind of summarize, like, this is where the collective is going either way. We have two paths that are still going the same direction, but they'll just be slightly different experiences based on what we need for our human evolution. Right.
Yes.
So
but you do bring up the wild card. The wild card is that people are waking up. So I do believe that the elections have been rigged. I'll tell you that right now. Yes. They 100% have. 100% have. Like, I feel it. A psychic hell yeah. Yes,
it's not new.
You know, it came out with even John F. Kennedy, and his father called up, you know, the Bob Moss in Chicago and swung the vote. Yes, it happens all the time, folks. I'm just telling you, psychically, it's like, even my guides are like, are you really asking this fucking question again? Like, my guides are like, please stop. It's so clear. Now, did it this time, that time? I don't know, but it happens. It happens all the time. But here's what happens. We've had, the media controlled. We've had everything controlled so that people only knew they only had a couple options and kept this in this couple options thing. Now that psychic awareness is opening up, people are intuitively finding a third option, a fourth
Right.
option, fifth option.
Right.
So I
Right.
think that if there is a conspiracy, I call it a business plan to keep, the masses dumb, which, just read a TV script and they'll tell you right there.
Right. Divide and
I think it's
conquer.
because it's to influence their free will choice. Why? Because it matters. Your heart and your conscience creates reality, period. And if a bunch of people start creating a different reality, it's going to happen, period. So I think
Well,
I think we're starting to get to real elections, is what I'm saying.
but that's their narcissistic way of control and order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, and you say people are mentioning a third option. I'm like, yeah, they're starting to realize their third option is them. They're starting to
Right,
realize, I don't resonate with that, or I don't resonate with that. Like, this is what I think. And so, yeah, I've been finding a lot of the third perspective, the third party to be themselves, which is great. So I've been seeing a lot of that wonderful attributes. But yeah, it's always been, I've been kind of like that conspiracy theorist saying like, oh, it's all, controlled, and the 2%ers are selecting the options. So we don't really have options. I've always said that and I always believed that, even since I was like a teenager. So yeah, we have to see through that the illusion, right, of this two-party system, the illusion of politics, and really dive deep and say, what does humanity need as a whole? And then we'll
Right.
be more in tune to doing our own individual journeys, our individual voices, and that would really bring more change, actually, instead of fighting against a party system.
Yeah, totally. I think we're about
You
to
know?
evolve out of it. So bring it back to the ethics of this topic.
Yeah.
What is your personal ethical line as far as predicting elections? What is yours, Scott?
Well, mine is, like I just said before, I just don't right now.
Right.
I predicted 2016, and I knew it off bat because I knew there was going to be a divide. Hillary wouldn't have created a divide as much as Trump would have, and we needed a divide at some point. So almost like pulling away to be more abstract with each other so we can see different lines, so then it can come back together more unified. So I knew that. But this time around, I'm keeping my mouth quiet because people, whether it is an actual prediction, like same thing with Bashar's prediction, if he's correct, it's like he's gonna get shit no matter what. So what does that serve, right? And so I just don't with the
So
elections. I just don't.
you don't, but do you think
I don't.
if we were to
Now
come
I
into
don't.
a
I
union,
did, but I don't now.
if Lightworkers to unite in a union, which I don't know if that'd be good, but like if we unite in a union, we drew like a union vote, should we all say we're going to stay out of elections? That's what I'm asking, the ethical question.
I think it's on the journey of the individual. I just feel like with the evolution of my own work, I just have evolved to not. Some people might need to, but
Right.
I
My
just
line
feel
is
like
to not interfere with free will. That's my line.
100%.
So it's like people like me or people don't like me. So whatever I say is going to somehow influence.
Very true.
And so I feel like I should refrain from certain things because I'm here to promote free will. I agree with you 100% that, life and the earth is like Disneyland. You like choose a perspective and you're stuck on the ride the whole lifetime.
Right. Right.
People don't change perspectives very much. The whole life is crafted from that perspective, which is known as the ascendant. So the ascendant is the perspective you take. And from what I hear from the angels and other people I talk to in heaven, you could be, let's say, a diehard Christian this lifetime, diehard,
Right.
all Christ, all humanity. And universe, when you're up there in heaven, they're crafting your next perspective. They're going to go, we want you to try an atheist life. And they'll be, what? No, you need to know the other perspective. God wants you to know the other.
100%.
God forces us to know all the perspectives. So
That's
anyone
right.
who's like dying on a hill for their perspective, that's just this life, y'all. You will be the
Exactly.
opposite. You will be the square. You will be the trine. You'll be every
right.
perspective of the full 360. From what I understand, you will be forced to it. That's part of the deal.
Well, especially during this time too, because I love you said it's very poised kind of what I've been saying, because I've been saying, ditch your beliefs. It's time to cut these beliefs out that you have and stop relying on
Yes.
beliefs.
Which
It's
leads
about
to perspective. Belief leads to perspective. Belief is the Sag arrow. That's the perspective, is the belief.
Exactly. But they're all narrowed. And so I would say you want to see things. You don't want to believe things. I see this happening. I see this to be true. I see this to be connected in this way. You want to know. And so I'm actually talking about that on my live show tonight, about the aspects of self to get that objective, godlike perspective to ditch beliefs and be more knowing and seeing. And so that's why another reason why, Christopher, I don't go into the political stuff, because it's like people give too much emphasis on other people making the change than themselves. And that to me is the prison,
All right. Great way to wrap up politics. Gets me icky. Let's move on to other
See ya.
topics. Let's do other questions. Okay. So again, at Lightworker Ethics, is it appropriate to read someone without asking their permission? And I'm talking about from afar. Is it right? Because people are like, you've got to ask their permission. Right.
Well, there's two things, right? When I was becoming, I know a lot of people who are starting becoming a medium, you're like pushed out in public to deliver a message.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if it's a simple thing like your loved one is with you, and that's there's like no harm in that. Like, is you're kind of just giving an encouragement of they love you, they're here, their song is on, or your grandmother Judas came. So that's Judas. I meant Judith.
Whoa,
Judith.
whoa, that was
Judith,
Freudian.
whatever. Yeah, Judas.
Uh-oh.
But your grandma's with you, and those are good things because that can brighten up someone's day. That's no different than saying, "Hey, you look wonderful today. Hope you have a wonderful day." That's okay. But when you're reading someone with like, you have a boyfriend that's doing this and that to me is unethical. Like, if people don't ask for advice, don't give it. Put yourself in a platform if you want to give advice. So
Yes.
it's a fine
That's the
line. If
line.
it's just like an encouragement or validation that's very positive and can uplift, that's all. But everything else, no. Health issues, no. Unless someone asks, I don't disclose it.
That's the same
Unless
line
you're
for
a
me.
close friend or family member of mine, then you're gonna get it.
They
So
have to ask. I mean, I used to make the mistake.
have to ask.
I would get drunk. I would start circulating bars and be like, "Yeah, you're gonna get divorced." Like I would start I totally am gonna go to hell for that. I was not asking free will, asking others for what they wanted, but I could just see everything. Like once you're relaxed, like the matrix just opens up.
It opens up, yeah.
And so the line. But here's the deal. Like, can I right now read read someone without asking them? Yes. Like God left the pipes open for a reason. I mean, the truth is
Right.
there is no such thing as privacy. All right. On one-on-one
That's right.
client, one-on-one client, you must ask. I will not tell you unless you ask. That is the line. That's the line I understand it from Archangel Ratziel, who's my
Right.
boss in heaven. That's what I understand the line is. But I don't think it's wrong for us to, read a president right now or read a celebrity or read anyone.
no.
And as far as celebrities are concerned, I believe the deal in heaven is we're going to let you be famous because you're going to be a role model. So I don't have any
Exactly.
problems talking about celebs or anyone who put themselves out there. If I'm picking this up, I think I meant to bring it up. If
Yeah, right. You make yourself public. That's kind of result of make yourself public. That's the whole point. You're trying to influence the public, so you have to be open to scrutiny too.
it's part of the
You
deal.
know,
It's part of the
right.
deal.
But
So I'm thinking,
look, like you said before, like just being an intuitive empath, you just see it naturally,
right.
But I got to a point after me being 42 now, and like seeing it since I was 4 or 5, I'm just like, I don't want to know everything all the time with these people. I'll turn it off, right? And so there's also boundary we got to set for ourselves too, not just for the people. Like we also have to be very much ethical about our own space and energy and how we're preserving that, because being a light worker is a gift. You can't just start throwing it away and just have it be a babbling full of a channel. We got to also be ethical with our own ability and power for ourselves too. This way we
Yeah.
can utilize it, not destroy the gift.
yeah. I don't think yeah. We'll move on. Like I
You
don't
don't
understand
understand
that.
that? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think it's a little different for psychics than astrologers. That's what I'm getting at. Like
True.
astrology more like math. So I'm kind of like an idiot savant. I'm always adding up the math.
Got
Like
you.
it's like always happening. It's not necessarily channeling energy in me. It's like me calculating.
Well,
So
hold
that's-
on.
yeah.
But there's a lot of people well, what's my sign? What's my chart? People just do it for them whenever they ask for it. So there's still a way that you can put
yeah,
it in
yeah,
place
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah. No,
You know?
it has to be.
So
Yeah,
whether
I'm better about those
energetically,
boundaries. Yeah.
yeah, whether energetic or not, because I think a lot of light workers, like we're talking about boundaries, don't have boundaries for themselves is a major issue
yeah.
I see the most of it.
Most don't. That's what I find.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it appropriate to withhold info from a client, to withhold info that they may or may not want? So for instance, my classic example is woman books me. She's wanting me to help her work out with this guy, and she's all this thing, and this is the guy she wants to heal this, and I see it's going to be another guy in about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Now she doesn't ask me about another guy. She asks me about this guy. And so I find myself in a dilemma because Spirit's like, that's not even going to work out. Like whoever's in my spirit guides, they make jokes like, oh. There's that too. I'm always like, shut up. I'm in a session. But so do you, like, would you say that? Would you volunteer that? How would you handle that situation?
Well, before every session, I say you're open to knowing everything that we see in the session. I always get that
Ooh,
permission first
disclaimer.
before every session. Yeah, I always ask that.
That's a
And
boundary.
so how I handle those situations, we all know if you tell somebody it's going to work out and they want to be in it, they're going to be in it. You know what I'm saying? They'll stay no matter
That's
what.
the opposite
They'll go
effect. They try hard. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to learn. So it doesn't matter. So what I say is, look, this is a situation that is, the theme is based off of this. You should be conscious of this if you want to see change. And if they see change, they'll just be out of it anyways. And I said, do you want to know the prediction of this? They said, absolutely. And they tell me it won't work. It's not going to last, but stay in it and enjoy it and be objective. Because most even know if they heard it's not going to last, they're not going to walk away from it. But at least they can enjoy it for what it is. And then, of course, I'll give another prediction. I'm like, there's someone coming in this time here that will actually is the true match for you. But I always say this specifically, this person now is your ticket to love. And I say either through them or through somebody else, this is needed to get love.
Yes.
And so then they understand, well, yeah, I don't want to leave it, but I understand it's not permanent, but I guess I will enjoy it for the time being and be more objective, So I say yes. I will do that. And I think that you, I'm sure Chris, or I get people who are very open to that anyways. In the rookie years of being a psychic, street psychic,
The older
I
ones
would do
though,
it.
older clients, younger clients under
Yeah.
30. I always have to bust their, now I'm told by their guides. Sometimes I lead to the guides. Like, I'm like, do you want to know? Okay. I guess you chose me for this. Like, so if I'm going to school you, and I don't mean school you, I mean like show you like somehow things actually happen.
Right.
Um, they'll be in their 20s like, is this the one? I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. You got a series of past life relationships. You have to like get up to speed to all your relationship stuff. If you stick with this one, you're still gonna have temptation outside the relationship because you got a lot of soulmates you got to kind of integrate with. So kind of give them the big picture, and they walk away kind of like, there's no such thing as true love. I'm like, there is. It's just that it's not as simple as I found them at 24. Like
Right.
you
Right.
want to think, and when you're young, you think this is it. And so
Right.
to me, sometimes my guides will. Most of the time, I'll ask my guides. I put it on their shoulders. I'm like, do
Right.
you want me to tell them or not? Okay.
Well, the change. I'm going to go spin dovetail off that because the change is before people were marrying because of conditional things like family. They had to get the family and all that stuff. People are now marrying for actual true love. Back in those earlier times, it wasn't really about true love. It was about like just marriage,
survival.
children, survival.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is going to be more of a journey now if you want the true love despite the conditions. Yeah. But what do you think about when light workers, we can predict our own breakups? I know I can, but have you ever been able to predict your own
That's my
breakups? And what do you do then?
that's my biggest stomach turner because I would say the last 4 relationships I've been in, I knew about 6 weeks into it that it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah.
And so I have this dilemma, she'll be like, so what do you pick up on us? I'm like, oh. Just like, I'm totally like, oh, it's like a double Jeopardy moment with the spotlight's on me, like, oh, like, I
Right.
don't know what to
Yeah.
do. I'm like, I think and the last one I had, which was like a long time ago, I had the same thing. I was just like, I know it's not going to work out. I know it's a lesson, like, and she was all in and just like, you're the man for me. And I'm like, yes, I am. Like, I felt guilty. I felt like I was lying. I think now my new ethic is, I'm going to say right now, actually, I'm going to more from a creation perspective. I'm like, the path we are creating right now, no. The path we
Right.
are creating right now, yes. And I think that's the truth. I think we're moving into create reality on the fly. And I think by this age, by my age, I've worked through all the past life wives. I got my Rolodex. I mean, I know all
Yeah.
of them, so I think we're done. And so I think that for me, it's a new possibility, but it's hard, because it ruins the romance, even so. Like, even if it's
Well,
like, but honey, this is the way it is. Yeah, but
right.
romantic now. Like, don't bring me flowers. I'm going to be gone someday. Like, now you're getting punished
Right.
over it. That stuff happens.
And I hate this. I hate this to sound like selfish in a sense, but I always keep those reads to myself because
Different approach. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I feel it. Like, for example, I've had many situations before before meeting Eric, where it was just like I met them. Oh my god, this feels great. But I'm like, oh god, another fucking karmic one. Like, I just know in the second day. I'm like, all right, let's go to the karma. I need to experience this pain of this, and so I go through it, purge it. But the thing is, when you know this, it happens quicker. Like, you don't linger in it for a year, 2 years. You don't drag it out. You're like, I got it, and we move on from it. So I feel like kind of knowing accelerates
Yeah.
the karmic journey. And when I met Eric, I told him in the beginning, I said, it's gonna be very difficult in the beginning. We're both aquas and we're gonna be bumping heads a lot. And so that's what it was for many years. But I kept telling him too, like, we never know what's in the future, because I always felt like in time it was gonna get there. Here we are 4.5 years later, talking about moving in together next year, so it's definitely grown. And I understood even with this situation, there was karma in the beginning, but like, it was making me a better person, like I said before. So it could be very beneficial if you just understand. To me, reading it's a cheat sheet. I'd rather have the cheat sheet and like get the lesson, the knowledge in, and move forward, and like be unaware and like trying to fit it together like hieroglyphics. And so,
Yeah,
but I
but
definitely, yeah.
well, I mean, I think it's part of the burden of our life, anyways. I mean, I meet people. I mean, I meet people all the time. Like, hi, I'm John and Don. I'm going to change the world with the robots. Actually, you're going to have in jail in 4 years. Next, like, I can read. I'm always reading that. I'm always getting counter information, and the way I handle it is, I'm just like, okay, I put it all on the table. We'll see. Well, everything's like a we'll see for me.
What's
But
relevant?
quite often anytime I meet someone, they're telling me something. I know the bullshit thing's going off, like this is going off. Your wife's actually cheating on you. Like, all this information is coming up on me.
Yeah.
And my guides told me is so that I can relate to them better. So what I do is, I'll start to talk. If I know they're going to lose their spouse, I start to be compassionate. I start to like
Right.
lend, like, I'm your brother. If you ever had anything you need to talk about, dude, I'm for you. Like, I plant the seeds that
Sure.
I'll be there for you when that shit goes down. But I don't
Right.
say I pick up on stuff, because again, we're in free will. What about what about like something around death? Like, it's someone who's like fighting for their life. Like I've had a couple recently, cancer patients fighting for their life, coming to me to help fight for their life. And I'm picking up, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like, and in that moment, I'm really in a dilemma because it's like, I feel my job is to promote life and to help life
Right.
thrive. I feel like people do choose death as an exit, deliberate exit. It's kind of
Sure.
unavoidable. But at the same time, I was hired to promote life and I'm picking up, it ain't going to work. What do you do in that situation?
Well, it's obviously been a lot of situations, especially I was known for creating a cancer scandal, right? So of course after that, I was like about health. I always say that the end result isn't so relevant, and death prediction is not my job, to do this. I said, however, let's be realistic. And so if someone's like in a position where they're, passing or about to pass from cancer, I always kind of get them to look at the moments that are most important in their lives, not fighting it, but enjoying it. And people say, how can you enjoy something you're sick? Well, if you have family members that are coming around you, make a joke, be happy you're being spoiled right now. Enjoy these connections that you didn't have before. I try to get them to look at the things that are before them. Like this way they're prepared for the passing. Because if they have peace before passing, the passing doesn't matter. And the most important thing is and it's a process to talk to someone to get out of the fear of dying or focus on the death. It takes a process, but it's not difficult. But when you do, they start recognizing that, this is a time for me to kind of observe and to absorb right now, and to at least, do I want to die in misery, or do I want to die and be ready for that? And so there's ways you can do that. But I definitely would not solicit, if someone didn't ask me about death, I don't do it. I don't say you're about to die, and I don't really see that often. But there are times my guides will say, hey, by the way, like your driving is a little reckless right now. Please make sure you're paying attention on the road, okay? And those things I've seen change behaviors or avoided outcomes that are negative. And if I'm reading a client, and I've actually prevented people from illnesses from getting worse by saying, get this checked out. I sent something to gallbladder, or your liver's having a little bit of this. And they've gone, they were thankful that there was that alert because it allowed them to change it. So,
Yeah. Well, I think we're meant to change it. I mean, in some cases it's,
sometimes.
honestly, here's the truth. If someone's really dying, their deep self has decided to.
That's what I'm saying. If it's karmic, right.
They're having a problem being honest with themselves about their core intentions.
Right.
That their heart's just not in anymore. They don't have the will anymore, and they're having a hard time accepting that. And they're in denial in that case. So in most cases, you're getting exactly what you're wanting. I mean, in all cases, you're getting exactly what you want, right?
Right.
And I think part of the lesson of dying is that it's a whole lesson to be pulled into death when you don't want it.
Right.
It's sort of like a lesson, a karmic lesson of the value of life, the value of having experience. I should have enjoyed the moments. Like a lot of times people need to learn how they didn't really honor life. And that's why they don't want it, but it's happening anyways. Right.
That's simple. Yeah. It's that simple.
This segues now to the idea of the ethics of dead people. Okay. Like, you're a psychic medium that talks to dead people. There's been a couple of not named here celebrities have come through you a couple of times. Like, where's the ethical line of you tapping into someone who's passed away? You feel?
Well, like you said, there's no privacy in anything, right? So everything kind of open to spirit, so there isn't privacy. But I think that when it comes to dead people, I really haven't found anything can kind of crossing the lines of anything. I mean, a lot of times spirit doesn't want to kind of go places that just is irrelevant or controversial, that's not going to help or provide a solution. Usually anything that's kind of breaking the norms of things is actually very solution oriented. It actually helps the client. So like I told before in the show, I said I've had clients that revealed the person of interest who was part of their murder or part of this other events, and this person has this agenda. And it always was a solution that worked. So I believe spirit's perfect in their approach and their delivery, and I trust that. So never once has it backfired. And because I take that very seriously, by the way, because I always say we're here for enlightenment, not confusion. And so spirit's always keen on what to say and how to say it and what to present. And I've always noticed to be a solution-oriented approach that rendered really great results. So they've talked about money issues, I don't like your current husband and all this other things. But if you think of it this way, Christopher, we all are intuitive anyways. So it's not like we don't know it either, so.
Yeah, we're not paying attention. It is being broadcast for everyone to know at any time.
But we feel it. I'm saying we have intuition to feel that stuff too. So I just we're just awakening their own intuition. Like, oh yeah, I guess I figured that too. It's always end up being that way.
Well, yeah, it usually resonates. I mean, but I guess the ethical question is like, the parents, like let's say Jean Benet, let's come up again, Jean Benet, I mean, I'm kind of curious to hear from that little girl, like what the F happened, Jean Benet?
Who's that girl? I don't know.
She was a little blonde girl that died. I'm going off script here, Diane, but like She was murdered allegedly by her parents, but their parents are wealthy, so no one really knew what happened. And some said, yeah, Jean-Benet Ramsey was her name.
Somebody remember?
And this is, so this is a case, and the parents are wealthy, so they say they got away with it, and da da da. And so and that little girl has not
Bigger than
been.
the parents.
What's that?
It's bigger than the parents. Like there's
Okay.
others involved in that. Yeah,
Okay,
she's a lot
interesting.
bigger
But
than that.
my ethical question is, before you break the line, is that fair to Jean-Benet's parents that we are like usurping them and going to heaven, or is there an ethical line there to the surviving parents?
Well, I think here's the thing for me, being a light worker is we should be attached to the divine. And so
Mhm.
whatever information we're spreading is needed to happen. So for example,
Mhm.
me exposing the guy faking cancer on TV, right?
You
That
did.
needed to happen. I wouldn't normally do that, but my guy's like, you have to, but it revealed the truth and it brought out people faking things for fraud and stuff like that. So the whole thing is discernment. I think if you're doing it from a place of ego, it will always be unethical. But every
Yeah.
time spirit shines in, it needs to happen. It has to be a
Right.
divine order. So
Yeah.
I always say unethical is always coming from ego. Spirit is always coming from a divine purpose.
And that's a great, by the way, if you don't know this, guys, Scott was on Real Housewives of Orange County, and he was doing a reading at the table. Like the ladies brought him in. One of the characters in Real Housewives had said he had cancer, and they were utilizing Scott's services to check on the survivability of the man. Like they were trying to check on him. And basically what Scott says is like, I don't think he has cancer. And they're like, all the ladies at the table. And it turned out he didn't. And you outed him. And like, it was like, wow, that was the first clip I saw being like, I like
Well,
this
they
guy.
didn't know. They weren't even talking about it too. But like, I had a question about ethics. I'm like, I would never do any type of health issue. But my guy's like, please, the guy's on a freaking show. He's lying. They're all getting paid for this. Push it out there. Put the truth out. So I'm like,
Yeah, good TV. It was good TV. Bravo should have pushed it more, but I think TV.
They did. They did. They re-aired it every season. They re-aired it. Like I didn't have to do everything. I was booked out for a year and a half for several years.
Oh,
Just because
wow.
I kept rerunning it. Yeah.
So if you're taking an illness and want Scott to out you, no, I'm just kidding. We'll work that out for you. Well, I'll tell you what we are doing. A little
don't ask me
tease.
about Tamara Judge now because
y'all-
Tamara Judge is posing something. Don't ask me about that. I'm not responding to it.
Next week, I just want to do a promo. Next week, we're going to talk about the Menendez brothers.
Yeah.
We're going to do a deep dive in the Menendez because apparently, this has come up again. Netflix has a series around the Menendez brothers. I think they've been in jail like 30 years, according to our producer Diane. And now there's like this sort of, I guess, resurgence of, the evidence. And the question is that were the boys sexually molested to a point of, killing their father, or was it just for the money? Da da da. And there's just evidence coming out. And so I think we'll talk about that next week. We'll kind of dive into that psychically just to sort of see a fun little place with, not fun. I mean, God bless anyone who died, but, to kind of look at this and look at the evidence and see what we pick up on. I actually feel like, the Minority Report, you saw that film with Tom Cruise where like there's like 3 psychics, like that's your future. You're going to be strapped into a water pond with like, Scott clones. Your future's going to be like living in the water.
But channeling dead celebrities, my nightmare.
But I wonder if there would be a day, this just throw out there like a what if. Like what if there's a day where you're not held by a jury of 12 people of your peers, but 12 psychics of your peers? Like what if crime went to that level where it's like 12 psychics in the jury?
That'd be very interesting.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Because when you, when you have consensus of psychics, what's that?
But they still use psychics for like, law and crime solving. They still do that. I mean, they use it in the CIA, right, for psychic spies, but they still under the hood still use psychics to do criminal investigations. So
yeah, well they do, but they don't talk about it. It's not admissible evidence. I personally am a 3 psychic thing. I got a couple people on speed dial, and I will like basically call each of you and get a triangulation of the read. And the last time I did that, which was should I move to Palm Springs or not, everyone said the exact same thing, but they all had something else to add that the other one didn't. So I got like a full 360 read from that. And that's how I, when I have to make those big ones. So here's a steamy question coming in. What did you do to attract this? I dare some light worker to ask an incest survivor this. As a matter of fact, please don't. I'm not sure if that's getting contrary. Rather, stop the victim blaming and toxic positivity. Stop using the law of attraction to bash people and for being SA survivors. First of all, you aren't talking to me. I don't bash people for being. I'm a victim. So quiet.
Well,
no, you're not. I'm just as qualified to speak from this honestly.
I don't think she's talking. Yeah, I think she's talking about in general. Like, and I agree with that. I'm very vocal against that too, being a product of sexual abuse and suicide ideation and conversion therapy and ritualistic abuse people. So no, I agree with that. But it's not so much about why did you attract this. I mean, there's still reasons for things in life. If you understand your karmic path. yeah, if you understand the karmic path, that we're not victims, but we just need to nurture the process too of the experience, and understand how we can turn that into our expansion. So yes, the law of attraction crap when it comes to this is so like the surface basic explanation and victim blaming, but I would say you don't ever want to be a victim or blamed for anything. It's about saying these are the cards I'm dealt. If you don't want to go deep into karma, these are the cards I'm dealt. How can I make it better? How can I just make it better? How can I make it
Honestly,
so powerful for myself?
and I might get some hate mail for this. There's no such thing as a victim. There's no such thing. Everything
That's
is
5 years
predetermined.
perspective. That's true.
Everything is planned in heaven. Everything. And here's the thing. If you here's going to blow your mind. If you are indeed the victim this lifetime, you will be the perpetrator in a future life.
In the next
You
lifetime, it's
will.
true.
You will. It's been affirmed by angels over and over again. No
I
one gets
agree.
out of the full 360. You have to play all roles in the play.
True.
The problem
That's
is that
true.
we're taking life too seriously, right?
Right.
Which is why it came with
We're
serious
judging
joy.
it
Like,
too much. We're judging it too much.
it is a
because
play. It's a reenactment. It does not, it hurts while we're down here, but when we come back up to heaven, it does not hurt our long term who we are. It does not destroy us. Yes, it's horrible, it's ugly, it's disgusting, all those things. But from what I understand, one of the laws of the universe is if you start on the circle, you must go the full 360 before you can get off that karmic path. And that means
Right.
you're on the opposite side of where you were, you're on the squared side of where you were, you're on the sextile side. You have to be all sides.
You have to
So-
experience all, right, but the thing is to be objective and unaffected. When you've mastered being unaffected by all, then you've ascended, truly ascended, because you like,
Yes.
I understand it. I get like Christ. Forgive them for they know not what they do. He understood, even though they killed him. So this is, I think, even within the question itself, is someone even a victim? Like, like I was victimized. Okay, you've been victimized. Are we going to lay in victimization, or are we going to evolve from that? Are we going to find power in that, or just we want to keep preaching our lives that I'm a victim? And I'm saying this as a sexual abuse survivor, as a conversion therapy survivor. Like I said before, I'm saying this as someone who was victimized continuously in my first 16 years of my life, and then
Yes.
some. And suicidal ideation, I recovered from that as well. So I'm like,
Yes.
no. And your guides, when you go through those situations, usually people are vocal about this, Christopher, people observing it, not who've gone through it, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to protect and empathy those who've gone through it. But let those of us who've gone through it tell you that I know it was part of my destiny. I knew it was a part of my growing experience. Because how the hell could I sit here and preach to people if I have no experience in it? I would do it again, actually, because I understand it was part of the path. I would.
Right. No, yeah, it didn't kill me.
I know I will.
Same thing. I'm so, I'm in the same position. I mean, it's made me who I am. I'm incredibly compassionate to those who have gone through the experience. I'm
Yeah.
kind of a specialist. I draw them in. Like, I can see children there. Like when I see children and things, I can feel who's being taken advantage of. I
Yep.
do give the parent a look. Like that's my I give them a knowing look. This is my the only thing I can do. So I'm playing my role in it. But the truth is, you're absolutely right. What happens in the Matrix, and we can't get deep in this, is that you become attached. So when you have a wound, you become attached. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't let go. And so what has to happen is you have to ascend. The only way to ascend is to let go of it and to realize it's all fake, that it's all you creating reality, that it's not real. And when you can detach and realize it's not real, you ascend to the next level and ascend to the next level. So we are meant to get attached and then detach. And that experience of attaching and detachment is basically the human learning experience. Right?
I like to say when you realize it's all you, that's what I say. You detach. I'm like, oh, this is all me. And people are like, I don't want to look at that. So that when you're in that judgmental phase, then you're stuck. You can reincarnate again. But you think, no, this is all perspectives of me. I have the control to be all of that. That's what God is, by the way, people. And so when you get that perspective, you've mastered, you've ascended.
Right.
And so I agree with you on that. I agree with you completely on that, because then people start judging the circumstances and saying, well, why do things happen, guys? Why isn't God preventing these things? Why does life have these things happen to us? What is the purpose of this? Life is very intelligent. The universe is intelligent to design. So are our experiences. There are reasons. And so we're not to shame anybody, because but Lord knows I will not be shamed for my experiences. I'm proud of them.
Yes,
and I think that's
absolutely.
when we fully evolve from it. And I know it is still me. It's still me.
Right. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Yeah, totally. It is. It's what you signed up for. And at the end of the day, when I see something horrible happen to someone, which I go, whoa, I wonder why they signed up for that. That's my reaction. Like, whoa. Because, in heaven, it's just like, yeah, we have this one course. You'll be brutally this and brutally that. And it's like, ooh, give me that ride. Like, why did you choose that one?
Right.
Because it is a choice to come down. And
I know we're
here's
short
another
on time,
choice.
Christopher. I know we're short on time, but I want to answer this question here because a lot of people have this about
Here we go.
children.
Here we go.
How do you
Ethical boundary.
explain? I explain it to a child with severe health problems. Well, you don't know. Let me put it in this perspective here. What if you understood not this particular health? What if there was a child that was Hitler reincarnated, and the child was going through challenges? Most people say, "Well, good, he deserves it." You know what I'm saying? It changes your perspective, your empathy toward the child. We don't know what the theme is between a child with severe health issues and what the parent's role is on the health issues of the child, and also the karmic lesson of having to understand and nurture a child and to develop that empathy for the child, and vice versa with the child experience of need to be cared for. And maybe the child itself didn't have enough nurturing and empathy from their previous lifetime. So you don't tell that to the child. You nurture the child. You show the child that no matter what experience in life, it's worth living. That's what you tell to the child. Right. Okay. You don't have to tell the child the mechanism of life. When you nurture a situation, that is the point. Period. Done deal with that.
You teach them how to respond to it. 9 out of 10 times, illnesses as children are like, if you, and we can't get into this now, we got to wrap up the show, bro.
Yeah, we'll wrap up.
But basically, like a child with asthma, died in a burning house last life. They're suffering from the dying in a burning house. Like a lot of times, the illnesses are the trauma of the exit of the last life. A lot of them,
100%.
And they're still processing the exit because it was so sudden they didn't deal with it. So, but we have to wrap up because we want to be timely. Speaking of the ethics of time, we do want to promote one more time. Actually, our good friend Mama Bear. Y'all give this a try. The Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle Deck certification course in January. It's going to be fun. She's a hoot. Don't pollute. It's going to be great. And we both have channels, sir. What is your channel and what is mine?
Scott Cruz PM on YouTube, and I will be doing my live show tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. God, 9. What am I doing? I'm flustering. 9 p.m. Eastern time. The time, yeah. And I do live readings there. And also, if you want to do personal readings, scottcruzpm.com. You can book a live session, private session with me there too as well. So.
All right. And I'm going to promote our TV channel is Serious Joy TV here on YouTube.
Yeah.
And secondly, seriousjoy.com is my personal sensei service. We are a spiritual companion that walks along your side. We know you better than you know yourself. Give it a try for $3.99. All right. That said, I'm super excited. Dude, this is fun. We've had fun. This has been a cool, it's total, bro. Like, let's do the high five with the other way.
Like this one.
Awesome. It's been fun. We'll be back.
This is like our
week,
conversations
folks.
on the phone.
Yes, it is actually. The exhausted people around us. Y'all, just remember, don't put up with the shift show, especially this week. Lead out loud. We'll see you next week. We love you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Well, shit, I forgot they did this thing backstage. Right. Thank God I didn't.
Well, you don't have to call me now for about a week. We talked enough. So you have to call me this week. Don't worry about it.
I'm coming over Sunday. Don't forget.
Oh, that's right.
I had to fly for that. What's your mom cooking anyways?
I think like Italian meal.
Okay.
So like ziti, sausage and peppers, she make dessert. Yeah, it'll be stuffed, dude.
Yeah, it'll be stuffed. It'll be fun.